After completing a various set of different tech maps, just like Hectic, Revolution or Tronic, I thought I was ready for the next level. I thought I was ready to keep pushing myself and find more difficult tech maps. So I found a new tech map that I wanted to do. But when I was looking at the replay of the map, my mood started to change. Instead of explaining how fucked this map truly is, I'm just gonna show you a full speedrun on the map, and don't worry, it will only take a few seconds. You're probably thinking, fuck this, I'm never doing this. And that's actually what I thought at first. But let me tell you, I'm gonna show you the easiest way, and trust me, it's gonna be a lot easier. And yes, I do know this is a bonus on KSF, but I will be referring to this as a map since I want to honor all the work that's gotten into it. It starts off quite simple. You strafe onto the first ramp and then do a left spin onto the next ramp. To make this a bit easier, you should definitely crouch onto the second ramp, or else sometimes you will hit your feet on the spine of the ramp. When going to the third ramp, you want to try to land on the spine of the ramp, and if you don't make it to the spine but land on either side of the ramp, that's no problem, just climb back up to the spine. And get used to this, because you're gonna do it a lot later on. Now we will be implementing the first cheese. After going off the ramp, you want to hit the wall and go down onto a platform that you can stand on. And from there, you just want to simply jump to the next ramp. The next part might look a bit intimidating, but it's not too bad. It's basically just one left and one right turn. When you drop into the gooey wall section, which is presumably the beast's anus, you want to S-tap again. This in my opinion is the easiest option for you to take. But there are two more options I'm gonna show you if this doesn't feel well. You can try to do the spin exactly the same way as you've done it before, but this time land on the small middle part, since when you land on here, you can set up the next ramp more nicely, in my opinion. If you're having problems with this spin, however, you can try, instead of doing a right spin at the end, to do a weave into the gooey tunnel. Just like in the second option, you can land on the middle section after the weave, although I think it is harder to land on the middle section after the weave, because the setup is worse. Now we get to a harder section of the map. When you exit the ramp, try to get a little flick in at the end to make this spin easier. After you leave the ramp, there's going to be a head check. Try to cut this as close as possible to make the spin easier for yourself. After that, there is going to be a right spin. Try to stay as close to the black pillar as possible. There are other ways to do this section, but I think the right spin is the easiest option. After the right spin, there's a hole in the ground with red outlinings. You can already see the ramps at the bottom that you want to drop down on, but it's very hard to see them and run, so I highly recommend you paint them. Once you go through this hole, start turning left. It is still pretty hard to see where the ramp is, but you will develop muscle memory over time. Technically you can S-drop onto these ramps or hit a wall and drop onto these ramps, but I think that's way harder, especially with the speed you're gonna have, so just do a left spin and hope for the best. Once you get onto the ramp, S-tap again so that the next part will be easier. You can do the next part slightly differently as well. Instead of going all the way around, you wait until you see the pillar with the many red lines and then just 180 straight in and drop onto the ramp. After flying through the giant fucking eyeball, you want to start spinning to build up speed and then land on the ledge. Be aware that this circle-ish thing above the ramp will reset you, so just straight up dropping down onto the ledge is not an option, although the hitbox is very tiny, so you probably will not get reset. Now we get to the second hardest part of the map. Unfortunately, there's nothing too much to say about the spin itself, but there's two things that you can try for the end of the spin. The easiest way, in my opinion, is to do a slight right turn before the last hole and then a quick left 180 onto the ramp below. Alternatively, you could also just keep spinning left and go around the pillar and drop onto the ramp. Now we get to the hardest part. This will turn Surf Black hard into Surf Black, because I don't remember how many times this part has completely fucked me over. Try to surf as much of the ramp as possible with a tiny flick at the end. Once you go through the next hole, do a quick right turn to prepare yourself for the next left turn and the weave afterwards. After the right turn, you want to start turning left as soon as you're really close to the right wall, since this will give you the best setup for the next weave. After turning left, you want to try to go in a straight line. Avoid the ceiling on your right and then do a quick left flick after you pass the ground. After the last left flick, be sure to crouch to get the highest chance of actually getting onto the ramp, and also do not forget to S-tab again. You are quite fast, so if you S-tab a bit too late, you might already be down the ramp. Once you're on the ramp, be sure to climb up the ramp as much as possible, because to get on the next ramp you need a bit of speed, so don't be cocky and just be sure that you have enough speed. I have good news and bad news for you. The good news is, the end has an easier way. A really easier way actually. The bad news is, once you realize this is the last section before the end, you will probably start shitting yourself. That is what I did. I failed this end 4 fucking times. I nearly quit. Now on to the last part. Slide off the ramp and bonk into the last ramp so that you slow yourself down on purpose. Now if you closely look at the end, you will realize that this is basically nothing more than just a slight left and a slight right turn. Just be sure you don't have too much units, because if you just hit one wall down there and that stops you, you basically fucked your entire run. And that's basically it. So if you do the cheesy way, there's only 3 hard parts on the map and the rest is quite easy. Also be sure to hold your jump key throughout the entire run, because I had so many occasions where I just randomly b-hopped something and could keep my run going because of that. Alright, after doing this bullshit, I definitely need a break now, so I'm gonna fuck off.